Kind of overdressed for this one, aren't I? All right. Well, let's see. I wanted to come back, guys, and we'll briefly discuss here, as briefly as we can, of course, Golden Globe predictions. We've got the awards show coming up just a little over a week away. I'll definitely come back before then, and we'll do some final predictions. But I wanted to kind of just go through the categories real quick for the Golden Globe Film Awards, of course, and we'll kind of say, okay, who's in contention, who's out, stuff like that, all that stuff. Otherwise, as far as future videos, definitely, yeah, like I said, we'll get around to these again for final predictions. We'll do some BAFTA predictions as well. Again, now that we know the long list and I've kind of had some time to stew over everything, I'll kind of get into that as well, and we'll do that in a separate video there sometime in the future. Probably, I mean, maybe sometime next week we'll get around to it, but yeah, we'll definitely get into that at some point in the future there, and then we'll do definitely some future at some point in the future we'll get into Oscar predictions again. SAG will be not till April, so we got a little ways to go before we know who's going to win SAG. So yeah, we'll go ahead and jump in here. We'll just kind of go down from the top here, starting with the film categories: director, acting, writing, all that stuff. Okay, so picture drama. Here, I feel like we're kind of down to two contenders here. I think Mank, The Father, and Promising Young Woman. I think they're the three that fell out the category. But I mean, even though Promising Young Woman does have writing and directing as well, and an acting nomination, which all Nomadland and Trial of Chicago 7 also have, I just don't really see this as our winner here. I think it's at best in third place, but I don't necessarily see this one winning. So yeah, I think that does come down to Trial of Chicago 7 and Nomadland. For now, I have Trial of Chicago 7, but I can definitely see a scenario where Nomadland wins this, because it really depends on what the Globes want to do here. It's like, okay, is it a thing where they want to try to predict who's winning Best Picture? Because if they do, they'll go like the Boyhood route, where it's like Boyhood over, what they have that year? Theory of Everything, and over Imitation Game and stuff like that. Obviously, like Birdman and Grand Budapest, which kind of later kind of came up as the two other ones that could win. Those were in the comedy side that year. And Boyhood, in the meantime, was like winning all the critics' prizes, and it had all of, like, the huge Independent Spirit participation there, and a bunch of nominations there. Nomadland definitely feels that way right now. So with that, yeah, it's really a big question of, okay, do we want to go Nomadland or do we want to go with Chicago 7? For now, I think Chicago 7, I don't know, it kind of feels more like a consensus choice right now. And that's not to say the Globes can't go with Nomadland, but I think Chicago 7, I think, is kind of where I'm leaning right now. Again, it got everything it needed. Aaron Sorkin got in for directing and everything. I didn't think that was a huge question mark for... I don't think that was a huge question mark for the nominations or anything, but yeah, I think I'm going to go with that one for now. On the comedy musical side, I think this is actually more a three-way race. I think the Borat sequel, The Prom, and Hamilton are all in the mix to win here. The other two, Music and Palm Springs, lucky to be there, but I don't really see a bunch of support for them, even though Music did get a nomination in acting, and Palm Springs also, I believe, got Andy Samberg in. So, with that, The Prom, again, I'm really split on the film. I have no idea. But, yeah, I don't know. It just got James Corden in. Otherwise, it didn't get a song nomination. Meryl Streep couldn't even get in. So I think it's at best in second place. Hamilton, I don't know. I mean, it is a big kind of musical, stage production and everything. I can see him going with it, but I don't know. I think the Borat sequel, it could go on a sweep here, and it could win all three of the comedy musical categories. And I think that's what I'm going to predict for now. But yeah, I'd say that one definitely. The only other thing I think that it could have gotten into was maybe screenplay, and that didn't happen, obviously. But yeah, even still, I think it's still a strong showing for that film. Okay, for the director category, since Fincher has won in the past here, I think they'll go with Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. Aaron Sorkin, I think, is a possibility, especially if they really like Chicago 7, like if they give it screenplay, directing, picture. I don't know about Sacha Baron Cohen winning supporting actor, especially if he's going to win for lead actor the same night, which is, I think, very likely. They could do a split. I thought that would happen with actually the same year, 2014, with the drama actress category, because you had Julianne Moore nominated there for Still Alice. Of course, she went on to win everything that year. But I was thinking, I'm like, well, they could give it to her for that Map to the Stars or whatever, the Cronenberg one. So I'm like, I don't know. It's like, maybe and I ended up predicting her to win that one instead. That way they could give it to Reese Witherspoon or to somebody else there. But no, they went with, I think it was Amy Adams in Big Eyes was in the comedy category that year. But yeah, generally speaking, yeah, Chloe Zhao, I've seen articles and articles about her being like the most rewarded director by all the early critics prizes and stuff that we've ever seen. So I can see her going all the way to the Globes as well here. After that, we'll have to see if the industry wants to take a turn and go, okay, we'll go with David Fincher now, or we'll go with Aaron Sorkin, see if they want to go somewhere else. But for now, I think she's the very safe bet there. Okay, for the acting category, starting with lead actor drama, I am going to go Chadwick Boseman here again for now. He feels really safe, but at the same time, I'm really wary because Anthony Hopkins, remember, at the Globes, even with Silence of the Lambs and Amistad and a couple of TV things, never won a Golden Globe competitively. He does have, I believe, an honorary Globe somewhere in there. He got one. So it's not like they've never given him anything, but as far as I know, he's doing all the campaigning and stuff. He's over Zoom, of course, but yeah, it sounds like he's out there and stuff. So it's not like obviously you're not going to have that with sadly with Chadwick, of course. But even still, I think that performance stands on its own, and it doesn't really need any additional campaigning and stuff. And I think it could easily be like a Heath Ledger situation where he just wins this one and just wins everything going forward. But yeah, if Anthony Hopkins does happen to win, then we know, okay, then this category is in a little more question here going forward. But yeah, again, I'll stick with Chadwick for now. Film actress drama, I kind of alluded to this earlier. I think it's going to happen. I think Carey Mulligan actually might have this. Unlike Viola in Ma Rainey's, that one doesn't have a film nomination, director, or even screenplay. It just had her and Chadwick get in. So that hurts her. Vanessa Kirby, same deal. That didn't really happen anywhere else. And Frances, they didn't give her any Globes until Three Billboards a few years ago there. They didn't, even Fargo went to, I believe, that was Evita, right? I think it was Madonna won that year for that category. So they don't overly love Frances, and with Nomadland, if it does win director or picture, they're going to give it something, somewhere else there. Remember, the Globes, unless it's a La La Land type situation, they do like to spread the wealth here. So, I again, thinking of 2014, sure, Boyhood won both picture and drama and director, but you had, Birdman won screenplay and actor, Grand Budapest won comedy musical picture, so they kind of gave the three, what ended up being the three main contenders at the Oscars, all got their own thing there. But yeah, otherwise with Frances, I think she's maybe like a distant fourth here. I don't really see her as like a huge threat here. Again, the Billboards, that was just a few years ago. I mean, I'm sure they'd love to have her on stage and stuff, but the Carey Mulligan, I think the fact that one did get directing and writing and picture as well on top of it, I think does help her out. Okay, on like I kind of said, on the comedy musical side, I think actor Sacha Baron Cohen. I think he's the clear favorite here. They could go Lin-Manuel Miranda, but I don't know. I don't really see that happening. Comedy musical actress, again, they could go with somebody like Michelle Pfeiffer. I think Anya Taylor-Joy will win on the TV side, so I don't see that happening. So Maria Bakalova, I think, is clear ahead to win that one as well. Let's see, going into the supporting categories. Supporting actor, we've kind of seen a trend here on a couple of sites I've been seeing where Daniel Kaluuya is starting to jump ahead here. It could happen. I mean, Judas Black Messiah also has support in the song with the song nomination. And generally speaking, it's not, the end of the world if you're the only nominee for your film. We've seen at the Globes here, actually go back to 2014, J.K. Simmons was the only nominee for Whiplash, and he won. There's a very similar situation. No, I'd say not Boyhood, because Boyhood had a ton of support there for Patricia Arquette that year. But I think there's been other examples there where if you're the only nominee for your film, sometimes you'll still win. So that could happen. I think Leslie Odom Jr., who I have right now. But I can see an argument for Daniel Kaluuya. And I can even see an argument for Bill Murray. He did win the Globe for Lost in Translation, so again, it's not like he hasn't been recognized before. So I think Daniel, he's definitely second place, but yeah, again, I mean, as good as Sacha Baron Cohen and the whole ensemble in Trial of Chicago 7 is, I think if they give it to him in lead actor comedy musical, I think that's kind of probably where they stop there. So I don't think they need to give him 2 Globes in one night the way they did Kate Winslet. And even then, obviously she went on to the Oscars, that helped her because she ended up winning the Oscar finally. But I think definitely there was some backlash, I think, that year, because it's like, okay, you kind of, it's a very small voting base, and it's like you can kind of tell, it's like some of these guys in the HFPA, it's like they know who they're voting for in certain categories, so why'd they have to give her 2 awards? It's kind of definitely some, there was some flack there that year, I remember, but yeah, so I'll pick Leslie Odom for now, and it's a good way to award One Night in Miami, unless they only want to give it song. I mean, it could be that way. I remember I predicted Star is Born to really dominate here in 2018, and that just ended up with song. But that had a little bit more support with like director, and both him and Lady Gaga, Cooper and Gaga got in, and then it got in for film, and it was like a whole bunch of stuff there. So could be that way, but I don't know. Supporting actress, this is going to be a tough one going forward. I'll talk about it probably with Oscars, but for now, I don't have Amanda Seyfried getting in anymore at the Oscars. I just think there's too much there with Maria Bakalova. We'll talk about, because I've seen Minari now. I'll definitely talk about that one, give that one a quick review. But Yoo Jun-yeon, I think, is undeniably getting in now, after having seen the performance and after how she's done here. I don't really see her missing at BAFTA. I don't see her missing at the Oscars. Olivia Colman and Glenn Close, and then you got Helena Zengel, who's gotten in just about everywhere so far. Just Critics' Choice is the only place. I expect she'll get in at BAFTA as well, but yeah, it's like, I don't know. And then you got Jodie Foster, who was also nominated here at the Globe. So as far as who will win, though, they just gave it to Glenn Close a couple years ago for The Wife. Olivia Colman has won, as we've mentioned here. She won for Night Manager, won for The Crown last year in TV, and then also won the same night as Glenn did for The Favorite. So she's gone 3 of 4 or something. No, 3 of 3 at the Globes here. And now she's got another 2 nominations here with The Crown again on the TV side, and now with this. I think she loses both. I think as much as The Father might end up being a consensus choice here for supporting actress, and Olivia, again, is in that kind of, they talk about the honeymoon period where it's like, okay, Mahershala Ali wins 2 Oscars in the space of 3 years there. Or, Kevin Spacey won 2 Oscars in the space of 5 years and stuff. It can happen, a lot of people thought Jennifer Lawrence would win back-to-back, including me, for Silver Linings, and then again for American Hustle. So it's not impossible, but I don't know. And then with Glenn Close, I think Glenn Close does have a chance to win here. Again, as far as that goes, Leo DiCaprio won for Wolf of Wall Street and then The Revenant, pretty close there. Amy Adams won back-to-back years. And Jennifer Lawrence, speaking of which, she won for Silver Linings Playbook, then won the next year for American Hustle, then 2 years later won again for Joy. So, the Globes, if they really like you, they'll not have a problem giving you multiple ones, especially if the narrative is kind of going in your favor for who's going to win the Oscar and stuff. So, if that happens to be the case, and Glenn Close all of a sudden becomes the frontrunner again for Hillbilly Elegy here in this category, the Globes could go for her again. It's possible, but I think if there's a spoiler here, though, I think it might be Jodie Foster. I mean, Martanian also has a nomination for lead actor, which I don't think that's going to win that actor. So, I mean, she did, I believe the last time she won, was it Nell? Did she actually win for Nell? I can't remember. I know she won, like, SAG or something. She got at least a couple awards for that one. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. Or unless she won like a TV one or something in between, but yeah, I know she won for both her Oscar wins were here as well. The Accused and Silence of the Lambs. She won both of those. No, but otherwise, yeah, she's been up for Carnage, the Brave one, miniseries on the TV side for the Baby Dance, Contact. She was nominated for Contact. Jesus Christ. Nell. She was a producer on Nell, so I guess that also, if you want to count that one. Yeah, so, I mean, the only other one she's won is an honorary award for, she won a Cecil B. DeMille back in 2013, so I don't know if that's Yeah, the year of like Argo or whatever. I think she was the Cecil B. DeMille winner. So it's been a little while since they've given her one, and if they ended up they ended up liking the movie a little bit more than I thought they would. So it's possible she could definitely be a spoiler there. But for the moment, I'm going to go with the safe pick, which is Amanda Seyfried. Mank does have the most nominations. I don't necessarily see them awarding it anywhere else. Like, I don't think Gary Oldman, I don't think director, I don't think picture, I don't think screenplay, and the score. I mean, it might just be a buzzsaw category there, since they're both Ross and the duo there. They're both nominated in the same category for Soul as well, which is another one I've seen, Soul. So we'll discuss those two when we get to their nominees here. So again, I'm going with the safe pick right now. I mean, it felt, Brad Pitt definitely felt like a safe pick last year in this category, or for supporting actor. And obviously he went on from there. But Amanda, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't have her even getting in at the Oscars right now. But yeah, I don't know. We'll come back to that one, I think, as time goes on there. Screenplay is going to be tricky too. This is where I can see him going a few different ways here. Again, I think Mank and Nomadland, I think, are the two that I really don't see winning here. Those are the two I would be shocked if either one of those two won. So Promising Young Woman, I think, has a shot. I mean, they awarded it in director and film as well as lead actress. I only had it getting down for lead actress. So, yeah, I mean, it could be one where they just like it enough to give it screenplay as well. Then you have The Father, and The Father, I think if it doesn't, otherwise, if Anthony Hopkins doesn't win, or Olivia, I think it's going to go home empty-handed, 0 for 4. So screenplay might be a good consolation prize there. And he is also, Florian Zeller is also the director on the film, so it's a way to award him. And then you've got Trial of the Chicago 7, and it's like, okay, well, they've given Aaron Sorkin screenplay prizes for Social Network and for Steve Jobs, and I think there might have been one more. Obviously, if all the stuff with West Wing, I believe, did pretty well here. So I'll just double check here to see if there were any other wins from the Globes here. Yeah, just those. So, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, they don't have a writing category for the thing for TV anyway, so yeah, I guess not. But unless it was for, like, drama series or something, but no. So, they've awarded him in the past. This is Chicago 7, so if it is their Best Picture winner, they might give it screenplay. I mean, we've seen, like last year, you had 1917 win for drama picture, and then... oh crap! Who won screenplay last year? That was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That ended up winning comedy musical. So sometimes, we always look at the Oscars, the screenplay lining up with picture, like it has almost every year the last decade here. Again, the two exceptions being The Artist and Shape of Water. So it could be Chicago 7. Since we don't have any comedy musical nominees here, I think it's if they want to line up picture and screenplay there, Chicago 7's like the way to go. So I do have that one out front for now, but again, I'm going to be very tempted to fight it out between Promising Young Woman and The Father going forward there. Okay, then that leaves animated feature. It feels like this will be Soul. I don't see them going out of their way to go to something like Wolfwalkers or Over the Moon or something like that. They did go with Missing Link last year, so that was kind of a curveball there. Toy Story 4 ended up winning the whole category at the Oscars and stuff, so... they don't always go to Pixar, so it's possible, but for now I think it is Soul. And just a quick review on that one. I think I kind of somebody asked me what are my favorites this year, and I was like, I was kind of naming them off. But of the Best Picture nominees, who's expected to be Best Picture, it's like Chicago 7 was my favorite. Then I do like News of the World quite a bit, but Soul. I think it's still in discussion for Best Picture, but it's definitely going lower and lower as time goes on here. I think it's probably the best Pixar has done that I've seen. I haven't seen like Coco. I didn't watch Good Dinosaur. I haven't watched every last Pixar film, but this is probably the one I've liked the most since Toy Story 3. And I think Toy Story 3 is like probably for me like one of the absolute best for Pixar. I always think like Finding Nemo is probably their best as far as like story and animation style and all that. That's always a go-to for me. You can't deny the first couple of Toy Stories are also fantastic. Monsters, Inc. is really good. Incredibles is really good. Up is, really, really good too. So this one, I think it's just so imaginative and so creative in the way it handles everything. It's so good in that way. The voice actors all do a great job. Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, everybody does great. I think, yeah, again, the score, it didn't really stand out for me as much as it did for everybody else, I think. And it didn't get me emotionally the way Toy Story 3 got me, the way Up got me, the way, when I was a kid, the first two Toy Stories got me. Even Toy Story 2 now is, when they get to the love song, or the little ballad, and, toward the end of the movie, it's like, oh, geez, that's still kind of rough to get through. But, and even Toy Story 4, the ending, again, I won't spoil that one in case you haven't seen it yet, but there was, one certain toy who got the kind of happy ending. It's like that got me more emotional than anything that happened with the main toys in that film. But this one, I didn't get emotional with this one. I didn't really. There were a couple of nice moments, but overall, I didn't really. Go for it there in that way. I think the best scene in the movie. It's a very. I mean, not say it's like bombastic in the way it's like there's always something happening, but there's one scene where everything is so. All of a sudden gets so quiet, and all of a sudden it's just the main character kind of looking around, and he it's I don't know, it's like there's a little bit of a spoiler there as far as what happens to get to that point, so I won't totally give that away. But he kind of reached out his hand, and you see a little whatever off the tree kind of falls on his hand and stuff. It's like that moment where he just looks around and just sees life and everything, because it's all about life and afterlife and all that. And that I thought was a standout moment. I thought just the way it's not afraid to have everything go quiet, and even the score is still minimal in that point. It doesn't, pound you with, all these, piano chords or anything in that moment. That I thought was super awesome. That little 2-minute scene, whatever. I think that's probably the highlight to me. That's one of the best parts of the film, if not the best part. Yeah, so that one I think it's really, I don't really have too many quips with it. So I think that one I ended up giving a 10 out of 10 to. I think it's, I think, there's a lot of great funny bits as well. So many good, there's good one-liners and stuff, great in-jokes as far as this one Soul, who's voiced by Tina Fey. She's had all these different advisors through the years try to get her to Earth, and it's like everything they do, from Abe Lincoln to Confucius to, they name off a whole bunch. It's like nobody can do anything for her. That I enjoyed all the jokes with that, and I thought, yeah, overall that was really cool. And then the way you have people like, they don't go to the afterlife, but it's kind of like going to your happy place or whatever. It's like all of a sudden, like this person on Earth, it's like they're on autopilot, and here's their soul, going around and, helping other lost souls. All that stuff I thought was really creative and fun. Yeah, so I think I went into it and I was like, yeah, I kind of came out and said, that's probably the best I've seen all year. Until we get to foreign film, and we get to Minari. Okay, so I do have, by the way, Minari, I do think is the front runner here, but there's a lot of ways they can go with this category. I wouldn't necessarily say, unlike, we've seen the last couple of years, where it's been Parasite and Roma, very easy bids the last couple of years for virtually every foreign language film category or international film at the Oscars. This is a tougher race this year. Just real quick, we're going to do it, and then I'll review Minari as well. I think Another Round probably is our Oscar winner right now, just because it looks like it's going to get in everywhere, and it might even do even better at BAFTA, get a few additional nominations there. The Life Ahead is going to be tempting. It does have a song nomination, so they did like it in other categories. And we didn't have Mads Mikkelsen pop up in actor, comedy, musical, which some people thought. I was close. I didn't quite think so, but it's like, yeah. And then like La Lorna and Two of Us are the other two nominees as well. I don't know. It's like people like those as well, so they could go with an upset. I always think like Leviathan was a winner there. You look at a couple of those. Sometimes the Globes kind of go their own way there. So Minari is the safe choice here because it does have the most buzz of any of these films as far as like a Best Picture candidacy and as far as other categories at the Oscars. Another Round, I think, I don't know what else it gets at the Oscars really. Other than international film, I think it would be in the original screenplay category. I don't see it getting in there quite. Mads Mikkelsen, that would be a long shot for him to get in for actor, unless he pops up at BAFTA and gets like, I don't know. It's not like he's won a ton of critics prizes or anything either. He hasn't. He didn't win New York or anything. And Life Ahead, I don't know. I'm starting to look at that actress category again. I'm like, I think Sophia Loren is actually the fifth choice right now. I have her getting in over Zendaya right now at the Oscars. I can see her coming back and all of a sudden kind of being like Marion Cotillard in 2 Days, One Night, or some of those. It's like, I don't know, lately they've been kind of going with those. And even, Marion Cotillard didn't get like anything else that year. All of a sudden she just popped up that morning on the Oscars. So it's like, I don't know, I can see that happening for Sophia Loren. But and yeah, that one does have the song nomination as well. So it's tight, but I go Minari right now. And that one, after because I came off Soul and then I watched Minari, and then I said Minari is the best film I've seen all year. So the Koreans are killing it, man. This one I thought, again, so well acted. Stephen Yeun, Yen, however you pronounce it. Everybody pronounces it differently, but Glenn from Walking Dead. I haven't even seen the show. I just kind of looked up and like, what's his character name on Walking Dead? So when I name the movie and everybody's like, would I know anybody in the movie? I can say, well, if you've seen Walking Dead, then he plays, and then I can name it. But yeah, he's excellent in this. Yoo Jun-yeon as the grandma character is so good. And there's again, without giving anything away, there's a lot more to that character than just the fun grandma character. There's actually like a legit stuff that happens with her character. So I'm like, that one I can see, if not Glenn Close, and if not Olivia Colman, if not, Helena Zengel, or it's like, that one could come through and win the Oscar for supporting actors. I can see it happening. I mean, it's, she missed out of the Globes, and, but yeah, that's really the only place. Otherwise, she got in at SAG, got in at Critics' Choice, so if she wins either one of those, I think she might win the Oscar too. It depends on how that storyline goes. But, I mean, the score was great. The direction was great. Screenplay was great. The other actors were good. Just generally speaking, it was also really refreshing because I kind of went into this one expecting, if you've seen the trailer stuff, it's like, yeah, there's probably going to be some racism aspects to it, but largely it's really all stuff beneath the surface. It's all the stuff of, it's more, actually, I think more focused on the favoritism of Koreans who live in certain parts of the country versus, if they happen to pick a spot like this one does in Oklahoma. Like they talk about, Asia or Koreans in California, they get all the good stuff and all that. It's like there's almost a little bit more, approach to that versus just, plain, rednecks, in Oklahoma or whatever, giving these guys a hard time because they look different from them and all that. That I thought was really refreshing take, because I mean it's very, it's very easy material to get people emotionally involved with and stuff, and all that. And it still happens, obviously, as we've seen this last year. I mean, how many Asian Americans have been targeted for, being blamed for COVID and stuff? So it's like that, as we've seen that, really take, other than everything happening in Texas right now, all that stuff is kind of leading the news otherwise. So, so I mean, I can see it, like I said, I talked about with the WGA video, I can see Minari all of a sudden getting on a fast track and, getting enough support behind it to where it could win picture. I made a whole bunch of changes for this film at the Oscars. I had it out for editing at first, then I put it in, then I took it back out. Now I have it back in for editing. The score and the song I have getting in that made the short list at the Oscars. Both Stephen Yeun and grandma, sorry, Yoo Jun-yeon. I have both of them getting in at the Oscars now. I had it in for screenplay still. Director, I had Lee Isaac Chung in there for a while. I think he's close, but I have him missing right now. So literally, I have it getting into everything it can virtually except for director. Now it is set in the 80s, so art direction and all that is possible still, costume design, but it's not really forward. It's not, it's not the most, the first thing you think of. Unless it's all of a sudden like The Revenant, where that got into costumes and that got into art direction and everything. It's like, I don't see that happening for Minari. But yeah, that one blew me away. And I funny, because I had read about it. Whatever source told me it's all about baseball. Wrong. They don't even say baseball once. There's nothing with base. It's all about Stephen Yeun and his family moving to Oklahoma so they can be farmers and stuff. And, I come from a farming family, so it's like the dad's struggles between, okay, I need to support this family. I need to do it by farming, so the farm does have to take some priority here. It's like, that's, my parents live that life every day. So that stuff I especially clung on to, and I thought that was a really compelling character. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a great film. It's absolutely one of the best of the year, if not the best. And I think it is, so far, of the films I've seen, the best. Like I said, I've still got to catch up with The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami. Those are kind of my three right now. Otherwise, is there anything else on my little list here that I haven't seen yet that I want to see? Well, Judas and the Black Messiah, I still have to catch up with that one. I would like to see that the documentary MLK FBI. That one sounds interesting. So other than those 4 or 5 or whatever, generally I feel like I'm caught up. I mean, obviously, I might not get around to another round or Life Ahead for a while, but yeah. So yeah, Minari, absolutely fantastic, great job. And I do think, yeah, I have it down for foreign film here at the Globes as well, just for now. But again, there's a lot of different places they can go in that category. Speaking of which, for score, yeah, I think Soul again is your early bet here, but News of the World is going to be a strong one here. I mean, just the score itself was so good. Same definitely goes for Midnight Sky, but again, I think, I mean, I don't know. It's like, do the Globe voters, do they actually pay attention to like how many? Because Desplat has won quite a few Globes here in the past. He won for both. Or no, just was it just for Shape of Water? I think that might be his only one, actually, now that I think about it. I can triple check this. Unless he won for, like, the Veil one, where he got nominated here. But, yeah, Painted Veil, he actually did win. There you go. I thought I'd mentioned that before, yeah. So he does have a couple wins here. The first one was clear back in 06, and then, or 05, I think would be when that one came out. Or no, 06. Yeah, sorry, I had that right. And then Shape of Water was 2017. So they're more recent ones, but definitely the last one was. It can happen. I mean, I think it would definitely help if like Midnight Sky had happened to get into like picture or director or, some other random category. If Clooney's performance had gotten in or something, that would have definitely boosted it. News of the World, on the other hand, does have the supporting actress nomination, so that does have a little bit more support to it. Again, the Manx score, I think, with Soul, that might cancel that one out. Tenet, I just pulled Tenet out of the Oscar prediction so I can make way for Minari. So, yeah. Yeah, it was Sound of Metal, by the way. That was another one that's one of my favorites this year. I think that one, I don't know. I don't know where I'd rank them. Minari first, Soul second, then I guess Sound of Metal. I need to think about this more, but then probably Chicago 7, or no, Pieces of a Woman, I would say fourth, and then probably Chicago 7 fifth. I would probably say in that order, somewhere in there. So, yeah, I it's, all of us, not to say it was like a lackluster year, but it's like, I don't know, I wasn't as bowled over as some other people were by like Ma Rainey's or Mank and stuff like that. It's like some of those, like, they're still good films, but I wouldn't necessarily call them like the year's best, absolutely, Tenet, no. But, yeah, this score category, yeah, I think it's down to those three, Midnight Sky, News of the World, and Soul. I'll just go Soul, just, for the safe aspect of it. But, yeah, again, I might be tempted to switch in that category. Okay, then for the song category, it seems like this one's going to be Speak Now from One Night in Miami. That's probably, not to say the only one that can win, but it's like, that feels like a pretty safe bet. The Tigress and Tweed song from United States versus Billie Holiday didn't make the Oscar shortlist, so that one, I mean, they've gone with a couple songs, I believe, in the past year. Not anytime super recently that I can think of. But they'll go with sometimes that don't make the Oscar shortlist. So it's not impossible. But the Fight For You song for Judas and the Black Messiah, that might win here. Hear My Voice from Child of Chicago 7. Scene from The Life Ahead. It's like, again, it's IOC or LOC or however it's pronounced. But that's Diane Warren, of course. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably, again, Speak Now is definitely a frontrunner, but as far as who can take it down, it's like, I think all the different, respects for those other songs, I think they kind of split, unless they do happen to go with Diane Warren there. And I know she's never won the Oscar, but I was going to double check this beforehand, too, to see if she's ever won at the Globes. I don't know if she's ever won at the Globes here. Okay, this is not helpful. This doesn't list any of her actual nominations or anything, so. All right, yeah, I'd have to do a lot of background on that one and kind of go through and see if there are any she won. Like, I know she was, I believe, nominated last year for that the Breakthrough song. But she didn't win for that last year. I don't know. I don't believe, like at the Oscars, I don't think she's ever won here, so. Unless they're very conscious of that and they want to give Life Ahead foreign film as well and match these two up, I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know. It's possible, but again, I think Speak Now and One Night in Miami, it is the supporting actor as well who sings it, I believe, in the film. Or I don't know if this is a one. I've heard that's what it is, but it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's just one that plays over the end credits, like virtually every other song that gets nominated. But I don't know. We'll have to see there. But yeah, I know this particular song is one that a lot of people like. All right, so yeah, I mean, it doesn't really. When we get to the Globes here on the 28th, last day of the month, I mean, there's a couple categories that feel like they're, can't miss. Like some of those comedy musical categories, but otherwise, and a director I would say is probably a pretty safe bet too. But the rest of them, there's at least a little bit of wiggle room there for who can win. So it's going to be different. And especially with the fact that the Globes are this early, and then we don't really hear from any of these big televised awards. Critics' Choice will be soon after, but then we don't really hear from anybody for a while. BAFTA, SAG, and Oscars are not till April, and the Oscar nominations are not going to be out until I think it's a full 2 or 3 weeks after the Globes name their winners. So it's going to be weird in that way. And then, Critics' Choice, again, I believe hands out their awards before Oscar nominations as well. So it's going to be strange. I mean, if Minari all of a sudden ends up like I, Tonya for whatever reason, and all of a sudden it just disappoints at the Oscars, or, that's just one example. Or like Carol got a bunch of nominations at all the precursors, and then that missed director, it missed picture. It got screenplay, and it got the acting bids and a couple texts, but that was it. So unless Minari all of a sudden, it gets the two actors miss and they both win Critics' Choice or something, unless we see something like that, I mean, obviously all these different races still have some potential to lead to some upsets and stuff, and lead to some narratives that might not quite take off. There's going to be some question marks here as we go into the Globe. So I'll go ahead and call it good there. So we'll come back here. Probably first thing I want to do before we get any further here as far as who will win the Globes. This next week I'll probably get into BAFTA predictions, early predictions. They announced their nominees. Oh shit, I just closed out of this, so now I don't know my dates here. When did BAFTA say they're announcing? It's in March, I know, but March 9th or something? Something like that. 8th or the 9th or something. Yeah, it's at 8th. Well, 9th. I think it's the 9th, because it's usually on like a Tuesday or Thursday they do these. So I think it's the 9th. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of time there, but I wanted to do some early predictions. Then I can kind of go look at it again later on and say, okay, here's what I think. And right now, Gold Derby did update so you can do BAFTA predictions and stuff, and some of these categories are nuts. Like the screenplay and film categories, you have 5 nominees, but for acting and directing, you have 6, which I don't know. Obviously, I think they're trying to make up for that, so they think with 6 nominees in the acting, they can get more people of color, or they can get more representation in that way, and it's like, possibly, but who's to say that's exactly how it plays out? That was the plan for Best Picture when they expanded that to 10. They thought, we'll get... first they thought we'll get more blockbusters. Then they think, when we expand it to 10 again, now we'll make sure that something like Queen and Slim gets in, or something like, and then they'll name other projects there. It's like, well, that doesn't always work. It's like they just name off the films they like, and if that happens to be one they don't like, then that's the way it goes. But I've already seen there's a couple people after, because for whatever reason WGA set a few people off. Because it's like they said like only like 2 film nominees had female writers on there. All of a sudden that was a problem, and it's like, well, I mean, look at it. I mean, Nomadland is written by a female. That one wasn't eligible. So all that. So I think it was just Promising Young Woman and the Borat script were the only ones that had female writers on it or something. So everybody all of a sudden they're starting to say Oscar's so white again. It's like, whoa, hold on, what? It's like literally I saw a couple articles that said because of this we're now worried about another Oscar so white. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what is? I mean, are we more worried about Oscar so male or Oscar so white? I mean, I don't know. Again, it's like you can't win with some folks. They always want to criticize. But no, I did see. Yeah, there were a couple articles out there that from people that said they should only nominate these films. I'm like, oh God, don't even get me started. It's like we've had this argument over and over and over again. The Academy's going to vote for what they like, and they see a lot of stuff, and it's like sometimes they just don't respond to stuff. Like last year, I kind of mentioned a little bit, like the director of Queen and Slim, whose name I'm forgetting, she came out and she got all pissed off when it didn't get any Globe nominations, and then that led to it, really down the road, like getting nothing that year. I think I looked it up. The only thing it got from the major competitors that year was a DGA nomination for First Time Director, and even that I think had like 6 nominees or whatever it was. So it's like, even then, it's like that one obviously doesn't carry over to the Oscars or anything, and she obviously didn't get any buzz from it. So she was all ticked off about it, and I said, well, you got to blame, your distributor there a little bit, because Universal, they had 1917. That was their big player that year. And it's like, if that's where all the chips fell for who they pushed in to be their Oscar contender, you got to blame them. Because a lot of these guys, who sit and watch these movies, it's like they get the screeners, and if the screeners don't go out, for certain films, they don't see them. And especially this year, it's like, there's nowhere else for them to go. If they don't get the screeners, they don't get access to whatever, they don't see it. Because there's no big screenings being held down the street for them to go to if they happen to go out or whatever. So, generally speaking, though, like I said from the beginning of the year, I don't think we're worried about that, though. Like, Nomadland is written and directed by a female who's has Asian descent. Minari, I think is... it was one of the leading nominations, or close to leading, at Critics' Choice. So, almost everybody involved in that film down the line has some kind of Asian American descent, or is from Korea. So it's like that has plenty of diversity in it. Promising Young Woman is really gaining some steam here. I think it can do very well at BAFTA, by the way. It could end up getting more nominations there than anywhere else, possibly. So that one is looking strong. You've got, obviously, Ma Rainey's. You've got One Night in Miami. You've got a couple other ones out there. Judas and Black Messiah. Daniel Kaluuya is almost certainly going to get in, at least for that. Riz Ahmed, he's got some Middle Eastern descent. He's almost, again, a sure bet for Sound of Metal. Even we could even see Leslie Odom, Chadwick, and if Viola happens to come back and win Best Actress... there's 3 people, who are black who are going to win acting categories. We've never seen that before. I predicted it in 2016 with Denzel winning as well. That didn't quite happen, but both Mahershala and Viola won that night. And even supporting actress could go to, we just mentioned Yoo Jun-yeon. So that could be the first time we see non-white, traditional white people win all 4 acting categories. So don't bring up that Oscar so white bullshit. It's like, just because one award ceremony happened to be mostly white males, that doesn't mean that's going to follow suit. I mean, like everybody talked about there on the morning of the Globes, and I didn't mention The Five Bloods. The Five Bloods has a shot to get some stuff there at the Oscars too. So there's a whole bunch of avenues they can take. I mean, versus last year, look at it, it's like, okay, well, in retrospect, it's like we had Harriet, which got some stuff. Cynthia Erivo got in most everywhere, but that was about it. We had Queen and Slim again, which didn't really go anywhere for this, prominently black films. But on top of that, you did have like tons of female winners that night, though. Like the animated animated short was black female and a black male won that one. You had Score going to a woman. We had didn't Parasite was the co-writer on that, male or female? I can't remember, but I thought it was female, but I think it was actually males. I don't know. I'd need to look into that again. But we there were tons of women winners last year too. So, again, it's like some of these think pieces, it's like they're just really trying to, again, just cause a stink just so they can get some notice. But I don't know. I'm not super, super worried this year. I think, generally speaking, we're going to see some, probably the most, if not the most, one of the most diverse nominee groups here. Acting categories, possibly in directing, definitely the Globes, the big story that morning, other than The Five Bloods getting skunked, was we had 3, the majority of the directors nominated in the directing category were women. And 2 of them were non-white women. So, even then, that's not enough for some people. So, anyways, it's like, again, I know I'm, fighting a losing argument here against some people because they're just going to whine and bitch about what they want to whine and bitch about. But, yeah. Anyways, I kind of talked about at the beginning of the year, too. I'm not super worried about it. And, I've yet to catch up with One Night in Miami, but, like, Minari, again, best film I've seen this year. Last year I thought Parasite was the best film I'd seen all year. The 2 acting performances in Ma Rainey, spectacular. I would say Chadwick, in my book, from everything, again, having not seen The Father yet, that's probably the only one yet I've yet to, other than if, like, Mads Mikkelsen or something gets in. That's, like, the only acting performance I haven't seen yet. But it's like Chadwick wins by a mile in that category. And even in supporting actress, I would go Yoo Jun-yeon right now for, who I would vote for. So, and yeah, Ma Rainey's the film itself. I had some quibbles with it, but it was still a good film. I put it up there with like Joker, Star is Born, where it's like it gets a lot of adoration, but it's like, I'm not quite as warm on the film as everybody else is. So, yeah. But even then, Joker was kind of divisive with critics, though. Yeah, so that's I better. We talked a little bit about this in the last WGA video there when I went into review. So yeah, this clearly went on way too long. So I'm gonna call it quits. Change out of this. And so we'll be back sometime next week. We will talk about BAFTA nominees. I don't know if maybe Monday, Tuesday, somewhere in there. Yeah. Well, maybe not. Tuesday is going to be busy for me. Never mind. So yeah, Monday or Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, sometime next week we'll get to it.